Your word is dyslexia. Dyslexia. Um, Disl Exea? That is incorrect. Okay, let's try again. Try the word disability. Dyslexia is a learning disorder characterized by difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech sounds and learning how they relate to letters and words. Like living in a 2D world and seeing everything in 3D. Our brains are hardwired to see and perceive things as much more complicated than they are. Reading and writing become foreign, almost like a new language. The words on the page become one.
So I'm Taylor Grant, and I'm here with Kelly Weir, and I'm going to interview her on dyslexia, or learning disabilities. So how long have you been teaching?
This is my 32nd year teaching, and I've taught every grade but 4 and 6. And I really, really love teaching language arts.
So what was the first initial warning sign to tell you that something wasn't quite clicking with me?
So when we had early primary books, there were picture clues, and you were really good at telling the story using the pictures. But when we started doing the words, even pattern stories were difficult for you. For example, I see a cat. Next page, I see a dog. The next page, I see a bird. But you were having trouble following that pattern. So every time you turned the page, it was like a whole new story. And you would start with and finally you go, I. And then the next word would be like you had never seen it before. So it was a hard time picking up pattern, and that's a big indicator that someone's having something going on there that isn't quite clicking.
Do you notice any behavioral problems or issues with children of any age that have a learning disability or dyslexia?
Often children with a learning disability or dyslexia, or I would say not a successful start to school, sometimes their attitude becomes a little fearful. They're worried about making a mistake. They don't want anyone else to notice. So some children cover that up with some behavior things, because if they can get attention for behavior, they're actually not on task with the reading, and they're hoping no one will notice. Sometimes we have behaviors, sometimes we also have children who are withdrawn. So they sort of keep to themselves, they do nice, neat coloring, and they do it quite slowly. So if they don't have time to do the writing, that's okay, because we're doing what we like to do and avoiding the parts that we feel are a little tough. So sometimes they do come out in behavior problems.
Would you say that children with dyslexia or other learning disabilities get enough support from the community or teachers?
I would say that happens more so now than it used to. I think that when I first started, that you had to be very, very severe in your difficulties with school before there was support and help. And that's simply, I think, because people felt that the children needed time to mature and that it would come with time. And I think the research is now showing that actually if you intervened earlier, then they would have more success. And so I think that that whole support model has changed as time has gone on. There's more support earlier on now than ever before.
If you could say one thing or one piece of advice to a student with dyslexia or another learning disability, what would you say?
I would say try to ask for help, which is probably the hardest thing to do because they don't want to admit that they have a problem. The other thing, they may be too young to even know that they have a problem. They may just think literally that they're stupid, and that's a sad, sad, sad thing. So that's, I think, the other key to finding early intervention. Anyone who's not feeling successful, so then you build a program so they will feel successful. And that could be shorter pieces of information over a longer period of time, so the success increases, and then you can start adding information. So I think standing up for yourself or asking for help or looking to see what the other children are doing. So if someone else has got a crayon in their hand, you sit beside them with a crayon in your hand. Sometimes that's a really good coping skill, is to see what the children around you are doing.
1 in 5 students, or 15% of the population, has a language-based learning disability. A key to understanding dyslexia is to understand what it is not. It's not a sign of low IQ or laziness. People with dyslexia are often more creative, may that be with music, art, or something else. Children with dyslexia often struggle with reading in class. Their writing will often look like a scribble. They may have trouble rhyming or associating sounds with the correct words, such as CHAT with printed version chat. They will often mix up letters and say things like lawnmower instead of lawnmower. They may have a difficulty even gripping a pencil in their hands or tying their shoes. Dyslexia also plays a big role in a person's social skills. They may think they're too dumb to hold a conversation with someone, or think that other students won't like them because of their disability. Along with their social skills, their navigation may also be affected. Left and right seem like the same thing. North and south seem like the same thing. Sometimes when children with dyslexia try reading clocks, they tend to get flustered and have to concentrate fully, counting every part out, say 5, 10, 15, until they get to the right time. There's no cure for dyslexia. It is not an illness. It is a lifelong condition caused by inherited traits. There are rehab-like facilities that teach children how to hold a pencil, type on a computer, and write again, but it doesn't work. Emotional support and opportunities for achievement to activities that don't involve reading are important for children with dyslexia. If your child has dyslexia, be supportive, even if you don't fully understand what's going through their head. Talking to them and trying to make sense of what is going on with them will make everything a lot easier for them.